Hello, 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 people. Yes, you're welcome to the Puff Show. And I'm your host, Dr Timey. And I've got with me here Young Memphis. What are you doing, fam? What's going on, bro?
Yes. Finally get to be on the Pop-Off Show. Can't believe I'm on here. I've been waiting for this, mate. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So, as usual, man, we did here to be a drop of Puff. And you know how your guy does it now. We're always chatting one thing or the other. You know how it is, man.
That's it.
We're talking this evening. And, let's just bomb straight into this conversation. Because I think a lot of people want to know what's going to happen. People are probably, anxious, waiting for this time. Because it's been like 2 years. And we're talking about the fact that the whole COVID thing about, going into the office is about to come to an end this week, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so you were talking about stuff around a presentation that you were going to be doing at work, preparing people to kind of like come into work and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's just go into that stuff, man. What's that about, bro?
Yeah, so like I was saying to you before we started podcast, doing this presentation at work, whereby generally when we do presentation these days, we tend to start with what we call a safety moment.
Okay.
Which just has to do with anything health and safety related. So it's either something you spotted, maybe someone touched the hot stove that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
So you make that as a sort of safety moment. So when I was thinking about what to use as a safety moment, the thing that came to my mind that's quite relevant to this period we find ourselves in, when I say period, I mean this whole COVID situation at the moment, it's mental health. And it's something that never used to get a light shone on it as much before.
Yeah, because people don't really like talking about their mental state and all that kind of stuff.
It's a personal thing.
You don't want to get looked down on and
Correct,
stuff like that.
Correct. But the thing is, ever since we've been in this whole COVID period, it's become something that a lot more light has been shed on it.
Yeah.
Because obviously you have a lot more people working in isolation compared to being in an office space.
But you know that, let's touch that now. You talk about this whole isolation thing, right? For some people, it's not a problem. Like they actually need that for their own for their own kind of like sanity, their own kind of personality. They're okay being introverts, being away from too many people in the office. But then you do have people who that has a mental impact, being in isolation, not being able to contact people and have real physical conversations.
Yeah.
So it is a thing, isn't it? So, but obviously it comes from different angles. So
No, you're perfectly right, because I think it works differently for different people, right? Like you said, I mean, some people, like you said, like being by themselves, and this isolation period where we've all been having to work from home for a long time has been a perfect setup for them. Because they like their space, they like their own time, and it's perfect for them. For some other people who are, like you said, extroverts, this has probably been a difficult time for them because they haven't had the normal interaction with other people like they would normally. So I think the whole safety moment I was thinking about using, if I'm bringing it back to what I was going to do with my presentation, talking about mental health as it has to do with work colleagues. Because generally in an office setting, you get to talk to people, you go for teas and coffees together, you have that break where you can talk to your colleague. But being at home by yourself, you don't really get that interaction with other people. Now, you don't really get that break because if you're living, let's think about this. If you're living by yourself and it's just you, obviously, and there's no one you speak to, now all of a sudden, whatever difficulties you're having, if you normally would have spoken to a colleague that would have taken your mind away from whatever difficulties,
you think,
you don't have that anymore, right? Because you're by yourself. So from a work perspective, it's more sort of a case of we need to always look out for each other as colleagues. Call up your colleague, make sure they're doing okay. When you have meetings, like a team meeting, make sure you have your camera on, at least in my team.
That one, bro. Let's talk. We talked about this before. Putting your camera on, though.
Yes.
Do you really have to put your camera on?
I mean, I'm a team leader, right? And I think it's important because without seeing people's facial expressions, you can't really tell. There's a lot you can tell by just looking at someone's facial expression, right? And you can tell whether they're deep in thoughts or if their mind, if they're not actually there in itself. And I think as a team exercise or during team meeting, it's important to be able to see people because you could pick up things that you wouldn't have picked up without the cameras being on. And like I said, this meeting sometimes are 10-minute meetings. If you're uncomfortable being on camera, right? 10 minutes is not a long time. But in those 10 minutes as a team leader, I'm looking at my team colleagues, right? And I'm trying to pick out if there's something that looks odd from what their personality would be normally.
So is this, are you referring, so let's bring that into context. Are you referring to it being like more a team meeting as opposed to any meeting that your colleagues attend? So if they're attending meetings with clients, do they have to have their camera on? If they're attending meetings with other colleagues, is it just a blanket rule for like the whole organization? Or is this just a thing of if you're having team meetings, it's a good idea to have your camera on so you know each other in your team? Is that what you're referring to, or you're talking about general?
This is more so when we're having team meetings. So it's not necessarily when you're having client meetings. We don't there's no blanket rule that says when you're having a meeting with clients you have to have your camera on, right?
Yeah.
Some people feel comfortable doing that that because it makes that conversation with the clients feel a lot more personal.
Yeah.
Some people don't have their cameras on, tend to flip between the two, where sometimes I have my camera on, sometimes I don't. But generally, every time I have a team meeting, and because I'm leading those meetings, I feel the team members need to see me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have my camera on.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's a good thing. I'm a consultant by trade, and as a consultant, you consult with people, you meet people, you talk to people. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
So as a consultant, you should feel comfortable.
Yeah. Having your camera on.
Yes, because normally without COVID, you'll be speaking to people, you'll be sat across from someone trying to sort of explain an idea or concept or design. It shouldn't be any different to what you would have done normally in any case. So
for those of us who are like camera shy, we don't really want to be on camera because, like, you know, Dr. Timey is in the IT space.
Yes.
A lot of what we do is technology. So sometimes you don't really, but although I understand a bit about consulting because that's the space,
that's
you know,
terrain,
consulting in IT, and you're consulting in engineering. So technically, yes, you do want that face-to-face contact. But what I tend to do is sometimes I find out if it's just very technical meetings and we've met before, then I don't really need the camera. But sometimes when it's like one-on-one and we really haven't met, or I'm trying to bond, then I think the camera thing is important because you want to be able to give some, you know, body language that seem welcoming, not just the voice. You know, you want to be able to like engage a little bit better, especially like I said, if your role is being a consultant and not just some guy who's behind the computer coding and just doing stuff. You want that interaction. So I get where you're coming from. So just continue in terms of what other things are you looking to put in place?
Yeah, so the mental health thing was going to be my sort of safety moment. Talk about making sure you're looking out for colleagues. I think one thing that's quite important as well is empathy. So as leaders, we lead, but sometimes we forget to actually give feedback, considering people's emotional states or how they would accept or receive their feedback. And I'm trying to come across with the point that whilst we're all isolated, working from home, you've got to have empathy when you're speaking to colleagues, because you might have a colleague you're talking to who's dealing with a mental health issue, and the feedback you've just given him, because of the way that feedback was given, has probably made his day 5 or 10 times worse than it was already. So it's also just being very sensitive to stuff like that. So that was going to be my safety moment.
So I think okay, so I think for me that kind of highlights the fact that people have to be better at communication, because a lot of the times, because you're in the office, people kind of go in their groups, go in their little kind of like cliques. So some people don't get communicated, you know, with, regardless of even if you're in the office. So you're still alone whilst you're in the office, and it's even worse now because you don't get to even see bodies that you might be able to say, you know, hello to and all that kind of stuff, you know. And I think the other thing is, for me, the reason why the mental health bit is quite good in terms of an angle as opposed to just health and safety from a physical angle is because I had a funny moment with a client, and it was so weird because that's the first time I had kind of like a disagreement on a remote call, where you could literally see the body language, and it wasn't one where...
Did you have your cameras on?
So that's what I'm saying, like that's why it was even getting more heated, because you could see
the body language as well.
You could see how that body language was going.
I hear you.
And you could see the reactions, and you could just see, you could tell when someone was being patronizing, you could tell when someone's trying to be funny. But the thing is that you're not thinking, should I be reacting because I'm on camera, bro? They really record, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, okay, how do you react to this as a consultant? How do you deal with this kind of situation?
Trying to stay professional.
But someone's trying to get one over you, bro.
But that's the thing, though. I think I don't want to call it a trick, because it's not a trick. I think it's just self-composure. I think without trying to blow my trumpet, though, one of the sort of qualities that people that I've worked with, this is colleagues and clients, one of the qualities they sort of said they've noticed in myself. And if I'm being honest, I don't notice this quality, but it's based on the feedback I've gotten. That means it has to be the thing. I'm very composed and calm. Pressure or no pressure, I'm literally the same outlook. So if I'm on a call with someone and I can tell the person is being aggressive or being patronizing, this is just me, right? I'm able to just stay calm.
But do you reckon that's out of experience?
Yeah, I think generally my persona, normally I'm a laid back kind of person. It takes a lot to get me riled up. But I'm the kind of person that whilst we've had that conversation and there's been an argument where it looks like you're coming across as being aggressive, I'll leave it till outside of the call. So once we finish that call, I might call you straight back and have a separate conversation with you. And I'm a very straight up person. I'll say, listen, mate, at the end of the day, if we're going to have this conversation, you can't be talking to me in that tone. Because
but you see, that's what I'm trying to say. You see that bit of taking someone to the side, it's not there. And that's why when that conversation was going on and I could see the body language, that's the first thing that came to my mind, because I was thinking to myself, well, if we did office now, I would have just said to you, man, let's take it to one side, let's just go into the room and give you a little bit of bollocking. But anyway, that's not what I meant. I didn't mean that. Dr. Timey is a nice guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what he says.
So, but we will have, a street conversation. Let's talk about the issue. Let's iron it out. And if it's me, you, I'm not going to disrespect you, but I would appreciate that you understand where I'm coming from. And I'll speak to you in a tone that's mellow. But if your intention, which was originally on the call, was to be a bit funny with me, it would have come out when we're just one-on-one, which then will prove that, okay, you're trying to patronize me. You're trying to like just make me look a little bit funny in front of other people in that. Or even if it wasn't in front of other people, just two of us, whatever you're trying to come across. So she was trying to say certain things that I wasn't liking.
So hold on. So what was this scenario then? Was it just a conversation with you and this colleague, or were there other people on the call at the same time?
No, it was just me and this colleague. So basically,
I would have pulled her up on it straight away because
but that's what I'm saying. I did. That's what I'm saying. Right. So it was weird doing it remotely. Oh, that's the point I'm trying to make. It was weird pulling up someone because I had to think about it while she was doing what she was doing, whilst I was reading the body language. So I was looking at this thing, and in my head I was thinking, should I pull up? Because this is remote call, man. It could go left very quick. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was thinking, how professional can I be and also be assertive with this conversation without things going left quickly? Because I could see that this person was willing for this thing to go left because they just wanted to overpower what I was trying to say. And I was trying to stand my ground because at the end of the day, I'm the consultant. I'm the one who's supposed to be doing this piece of work. I'm the one that's supposed to be giving you this advice. So I need to let you know what things need to be. Not in a rude way, but if you're trying, to kind of like speak to me in a certain way. The interesting bit was the body language, not just the tone. It was the body language that I could literally read because of that camera. I could tell that she was getting riled up.
Well, you see, there's a smart way to deal with things like this, though. Again, maybe this comes from my perspective. It probably comes with experience. If I was the one in that situation, and I could tell from, I'm taking this as the female, right? Because you said and I can tell from her body language that she was either she's getting aggravated or getting riled up. I'm the kind of person I'll be like, let's say Lisa, for the sake of Lisa. Hi, Lisa. I'm not trying to make Lisas feel bad out there, but I'm the kind of person that say, hey, Lisa, are we okay though? I can see you getting a little bit agitated. Are we okay? And just sort of make her realize that her body language is coming across a certain way.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's good you're going down this way because now we're looking at solutions, right? I use that same thing. Let's just say mine is Ngozi. Ngozi, what's happening? I'm not saying all the Ngozis out there.
Shout out to Ngozis out there, all the female Igbo ladies out there.
So Lisa, Ngozi, let's just take it like that. So let's just say, I'm talking to Ngozi. Ngozi's behavior is kind of like a little bit like heated. I can see she's getting aggravated. I'm trying to tone it down. I'm trying to use my mellow voice. I'm trying to ask questions, trying to see, okay, why are we like in this situation? But then Ngozi's trying to be a little bit more powering, trying to really overpower. And I'm trying to like really try and get this conversation back. So at some point, we then go into the actual technical detail now, which then exposes Ngozi to more gaps. Because now she's now feeling a little bit more exposed in this conversation. And it's almost like the point you were trying to make in the initial time is really obviously not the point that should have been made anyway, because now you're talking to a professional who is now trying to let you know that, okay, you're being a bit funny. Now we're going to put you into, do you know what I'm saying? But then that gets the whole situation even more bossy. So I cooled the whole thing down, just to cut the long story short, put the whole thing down, relaxed the whole thing, let it be, sent a message and said, look, I wasn't trying to be difficult. I was just trying to make you understand that this and that. Ngozi says, that's cool, no problem. We agree some actions to take things forward. But unfortunately, Ngozi is still right up in the background. So Ngozi is now carried it to other colleagues.
Because how far?
Do you understand? Ngozi just follow our hands. You know what I'm saying? So now we get into another conversation with a group of colleagues. You could then see all the different body languages on this video camera. And that was one of the things that just struck me. And I just thought to myself, wow, working remotely is very different, because going back to your point of mental health, at that point, I could just tell how easy it was for me to get anxious, how easy it was for my emotions to build up compared to if I was in the office, physically sat in front of this person, that I probably would have felt like I can still be very calm. I can still control the conversation. I can control the narrative. But in this case, I just felt like I was just building up a lot of energy, and I had to be very conscious of the fact that I needed to control this energy. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So to your point, it can drive anyone up the wall if you're not mindful and be, having empathy. Like it's empathy.
It's a hard word, isn't it? Empathy. That's
empathy.
The one. Yeah.
They speak big English for this place.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm an engineer.
But let's talk about what the actual rules are when we come out of this whole thing. Do you know how much Boris has said? I know he's talked about the fact that we're gonna have to obviously live with COVID, and I think UK is probably one of the first that like uplifting this whole thing and just lifting it off.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You might be right though, because I think the UK is the first country, at least to my knowledge, that has actually dropped all COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
So you don't have to isolate for 5 days or whatever, how many days. If you've got COVID, you don't have to wear a mask anymore.
Yeah.
The whole 2 meters that became 1 meter is no longer there anymore. So in essence, everyone is allowed to just mix and mingle pretty much. And I guess where he's coming from is he trusts the British public and the judgment to choose and know that if I have COVID, I don't want to be spreading across to my neighbors or the next person.
Sure? Some people never come out, man. If they have COVID, they're going out that door and they're going to spread that stuff.
You say that. I was speaking to someone the other day and she was telling me that she was going for one of her friend's birthdays.
Yeah.
But her friend also told her that her mom had COVID.
Okay.
And she lives with her mom.
Okay.
Now, if this was when we had the whole lockdown thing in place, the whole thing was if there's someone in your household that's got COVID, you've got to isolate along with. But this girl was so keen on going out that in as much as her mom was got COVID, she was like, blip it, I'm going out.
I'm going to go out.
Yeah. But you see, Boris is trusting people's judgment and for people to do the responsible thing. Some people will.
Some people won't.
Some people won't. But the problem with this is the people that don't will then prolong how long this COVID thing goes.
Yeah.
Because no one is isolating anymore. The ones that are not taking personal responsibility are mixing with other people.
Yeah.
And you talk to somebody innocently and you don't know they've got COVID.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the next day you're aching and so I'm not really sure that I'm happy about the freedom because you can do a lot more now without having to have lateral flow tests and feeling that you've got to test yourself every time or you can't go to certain places. So I like the fact that we can interact again with people, but I'm also conscious about or cautious about who I'm interacting with as well.
Yeah.
Because you're not sure who you're talking with and if they've got COVID and if they've got themselves tested or if they should be isolating.
Yeah.
So it's a tricky one, but as far as I know, the UK is the only country at the moment that has dropped
the whole
every single thing.
You don't have to, because I remember having to travel in just before the whole thing was cut off. You don't have to test to come into the UK anymore. Omicron, as you guys know that I've said many times. The guy, is a bit softer than the main Oga COVID himself.
That's it.
So I guess it's like the flu now, isn't it? So you pretty much just have to deal with the consequences of having.
I think that's how they're trying to manage it at the moment, though, because back in the day, if you called it the common flu or compared it to the common flu, people got upset.
Okay.
Because again, people would say the common flu, it never really had that much casualty. But people do actually die from the common flu, though. But it's not just as pronounced or announced on the news as COVID is.
Yeah.
Because people would now say Boris' thinking is you compare it to the common cold, it's something that we're going to have to live with. If you have it, you feel bad for a couple of days. And I think there are actually medications that are out there now that you can actually take if you've got COVID.
Okay. They're like, tablets and stuff like that that are coming out.
I might be totally wrong. I'm
pretty
sure I think
I've heard of it. I think I have heard of it before. That there were going to be drugs coming out, not just about the jabs anymore.
Correct.
There are going to be some drugs coming out, which is pretty much the line to go if you're going to have to be coping and living with it.
Yeah.
There should be. You can't be getting jabbed all the time, Baba. That's in the painful hands. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So so the thing is, for me, well, I guess Boris has to do what Boris has to do. Bojo has always been Bojo.
He's always been different.
You know what I mean? So he's probably thinking, I had a party, everyone's giving me a hard time. The gig was going down. COVID was what it is. We just have to live with it.
Yeah, I think I don't want to get political about this whole
there's
COVID
no politicalness
thing,
on that thing, man. Everybody knows what Boris was up to.
100%. Because the thing is, we were talking about the same thing, right? Obviously, there was a lot of heat on him, right? With this whole party at number 10. And he's thinking, right, how do I get out of this situation, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to give people something to focus on, something else.
Yeah, Teflon.
Make them feel good about themselves. People have their freedoms. They can go for the parties. You could go to clubs. You could rave.
Yeah.
So your mind gets taken away from the fact that this lad, right, had parts is we're number 10.
Boris
so the pressure is not
bro.
on him. So he's all mapped up, man.
Yeah,
you don't plan him.
That guy is a G. I'm telling you. So yeah, but you see, the thing is, okay, so going back now, let's talk about the presentation now.
Yes.
So we go back to the presentation. So you're gonna have this presentation. What are gonna be the key highlight? Talking about mental health. What kind of measures do you think you'd be proposing and stuff like that? Or what's the detail?
Yeah, so maybe I should probably say this. So the presentation itself is not necessarily on mental health in itself, but I was just going to use it as a sort of
trigger to say, guys, think about this element.
Correct.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, just highlight some of those things you wanted to.
So again, like I said, be conscious of your colleagues and in terms of calling them, checking up on them, making sure they're fine. If you're like a line manager, you want to make sure you're checking on your colleague who you're line managing.
Yeah.
Because what we try to do is every month we try to have one-on-one sessions with colleagues that we line manage, and it's always based around work, around tasks that you've done, how you're getting on, and any areas you need assistance with. But it never ever goes to just a very simple thing of how you getting on, how you finding being at home by yourself, are you okay? And sometimes it's those little questions that you ask that makes such a big difference. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be the shrink for your colleague, right? I'm not saying you're going to be the therapist for your colleague, but I think just being an ear for someone to listen to sometimes goes a long way. Because some people sometimes they just need someone to listen, and again, like I said, it's a work situation. You haven't got an hour or 2 hours to spend on a conversation, but if it needs it, you should spend that time and find out how your colleague is doing, and if you can give them that support, give them the right support they need. So
I think, but you see, the other angle to this is what happens to those who actually don't even want to go back into the office. So yes, Boris said everyone should go back. Those who are looking forward to being, in other people's presence, who are looking forward to waking up at 3:00 in the morning, who are looking forward to get packed in the underground station, those who are looking forward to just getting on with this lifestyle, it's fine. But there are people who are used to the whole remote working, who personally are finding their space, don't really, they probably feel, if we're talking about mental health, they probably feel anxiety going out anyway, because I'm still being productive at home. Right? There's no different. If anything, my work rate is probably even gone higher. Because I tend to start early, finish early in my own comfort zone.
I finish late.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Early, finish late.
Or even finish late. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And finish early doesn't necessarily mean early. Sometimes it's just bang on 5. If you're 9 to 5 type of thing.
Bruh.
And then people, kind of pick it up in the evening after dinner.
I want to do your job though, because the job I do, I work right through, man. I work right through. It's not a healthy.
Is it? I think for me, I used to be like that, but I had to stop that behavior.
But the thing is, I can't. Sorry to interject. I can't stop myself from, because the thing is, I'll tell you one thing that I haven't had in a long time. I'll come back to the point we're talking about. I haven't had a lunch break in the last 2+ years,
bro,
that we've been on lockdown,
bro.
Because when you're in an office space, and this is why I don't mind going back into an office space for 2 or 3 days in a week. I'm happy being at home. Trust me, I'm one of them people that I would happily work from home. And do my Zoom calls and meetings on Teams and the rest of it. But the one thing I've missed being able to have when I was in the office was an actual lunch break. Because we're working from home now, I've always got a meeting. Around 12, 1.
But don't you cover that in your calendar though?
You can't cover your calendar. The thing is, we deal with international clients.
Right?
And a lot of the times there's a time difference.
Okay.
So they are not aware of the time, or they don't take note of the fact that there's a time difference. So they set up a meeting.
They do it on their own time.
That's right. So someone sets up a meeting in Spain, it's 2:00, but it's 1:00 here. And 1:00 might be the time I normally take my lunch break. So people these days, just because we've gotten into a habit now from doing so many meetings because we're working from home, so people just put calendar meetings without taking note of the fact that normally, typically between 12 and 2, people will be out for lunch, and they just put meetings in there. So I end up being in meetings from morning through lunchtime, late in the evenings. We have some design reviews at times at 5, 6 in the evening. Where if you're in an office space, once it's 5:00,
everybody's out.
You pack your things, you're ready. You don't care what's going on, you're out, and no one can stop you. But because you're in the comfort of your home, you almost forget about yourself. Because you're thinking, right, I'm in my living room, I'm in my study, right? I'm just next to the fridge. So you don't actually take yourself away from that situation. I have colleagues, right, that they consciously make sure that as soon as they finish a call by 5, they're gone. They're like, they've logged out, or they've set their status to away. So you can't do anything. You can't get hold of them. But sad people like myself, I'm still available at 5:00. So someone is thinking, he's still working. I'll drop a calendar invite there and say, let's have a brief chat.
But that's what I'm saying. Like at home, you get more productive, but you also have to stop that habit, because the thing is, like for me, I don't have anything, like meetings after a certain time, but I will pick up artifacts and things that I need to kind of draft and stuff like that. Later in the evening, and like I said, for me, that's the advantage of just being at home. I can do a lot more, and I can do a lot more in my time, because after 5 I might decide to go to the gym, have some, kind of like energy
downtime,
like come back home, refresh, and then I just sit on the computer for like maybe an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, depending on how things are going. It might be 4 hours, but I know that when I need to wake up, I wake up at a time that is comfortable. I'm not traveling to any client office. I'm not really having to do all that stuff. So for me, it's comfortable. It's suitable. It kind of like, helps with the mental health thing. Just being able to think through after you've had a long day. And you're comfortable. You're in your own space. So that's what I'm saying. Like, for people who are not looking forward to it, who are not looking forward to going back into the office, who their personality doesn't really match being in too many people's faces. I kind of wonder what organizations are doing to kind of give those people that whole kind. I know they're 2 to 3 days sometimes, or some people are allowed just 1 day a week. What would you think would be the balance?
I think it depends on the company, right? I'll speak from my own company's perspective. So we're going to do this hybrid working sort of setup whereby you do, I think it's 3 days at home and 2 days, in the office. And I think there's a flexibility that you can mix that. You could change that and make that 2 days in the office. Or sorry, 2 days at home and 3 days in the office. But that is not set in stone. If you choose that you want to be in the office 5 days a week, 100%
that's up to you.
It's open to you to do that. If you choose, I think as a baseline minimum, you can't choose not to be in the office.
Okay.
So, and I think for me, I think that's probably the right way to do it, because you get that right balance, I think.
Well, I know you say that, but that's actually more expensive, because unless you're driving to work, travel wise, if you're not buying like a monthly ticket or weekly ticket,
right,
doing 2 days, you know how it is. It could cost more than a week, the way we work. Sorry guys, if you're not from around here, in the UK, this is what we're talking about. Is the UK region we're talking about now in terms of how things work. Sometimes buying, spending on transportation is easier to buy a weekly ticket or even a monthly ticket, as opposed to buying a daily ticket off the cuff. So one has to be wary of that when organizations kind of present that, because how do you then tackle that when people say, oh, it's costing me actually the same for a week that it will be for 2, so I'm not actually saving any money. Yes, I'm coming in, but
the thing is, if I'm being honest, right, the companies don't really care about that.
Well,
because if you were having to work in the office 5 days a week, you'd buy your train ticket anyway.
True,
right?
true.
So
for me, my kind of thing, I don't need to do that. But thinking about how it used to be a few years ago, compared to now, you'd have to buy a weekly ticket. You'd have to buy a monthly ticket. But now, obviously, if you're doing a hybrid, I guess, at the end of the day, like you said, the company doesn't care. It's down to you to sort out your transportation.
That's it.
It is what it is. You're getting paid, bro, innit?
That's it.
Like, you're trying to secure the bag. And like these young people say they're pushing peas. I go push the pea for this guy office.
Is that the new one,
you understand? That's the new one,
it?
Pushing peas. I don't know what they are pushing, but that's what they're saying.
Stand for?
I don't really know. These guys.
Pushing paper, is it?
Yeah, it's paper, innit? So pushing
peas,
yeah. So
I'm getting old now.
Bro, it's not just you. I was
missing out on all the cool stuff.
I was hearing the whole pushing peas. I was just thinking, dude, man, these guys come out with stuff every single time.
It's hard to keep up, mate.
Yeah,
it's hard to keep up.
But it's quite impressive. I wish you all the best with that whole presentation.
No, thank you.
And I think it's a very good angle to go to be honest, because most people will probably thinking of how to secure the place, how to make sure there's hand sanitizer and all that kind of stuff, and just forget about the fact that people are human.
100%. And the thing is, the presentation I'm giving, which is, like I said, not about mental health, but it's to like senior board management sort of type level, and they are doing the management stuff at a high level. They don't necessarily speak to the day-to-day colleagues. So I think they're like the perfect target to bring this to remembrance and say, listen, you guys might be up there in the big boards,
not knowing what's going on,
going down here, but when you get an opportunity to interact with the day-to-day guy,
take that into consideration.
Find out how you're doing, how's your day been, and it's as simple as saying, how are you? And that's more than enough sometimes for people to expose or tell you a bit more if you're struggling with someone, and letting people feel like they're included. So another thing on my slide I was going to talk about was inclusivity, because you work in a team with other people. Some people are in a team, right, but they don't feel part of the team.
Yes.
Because it's either they feel they haven't got a voice,
especially when it's remote. You've lost that whole team bonding.
Correct. And if they make suggestions during meetings and you don't acknowledge,
then
the next meeting you have with them, they're less forthcoming in terms of speaking up.
They're not really engaged.
That's it. And all of a sudden they feel they're not part of the team. Then they sort of go into like a little shell. Then it's hard to communicate with them. Then they might be dealing with something mentally, and you can't actually speak to them because they're not engaging with you. So I think inclusivity, empathy, checking out on people, those are like my 3 core things. That we must always keep in mind, even as much as maybe senior level staff, and when we deal with other colleagues and even colleagues on our level, then we always have to keep these 3 things in mind.
Take it into consideration if you're going into the office after Bojo, or is that what they call him though?
Bojo, one of many names.
One of many names, the Teflon. So he's basically saying we can now go back into the office. Basically, we can now live life with COVID. Basically, I think that's what he's saying, bro. You can be all diseased up.
So just keep going, mate.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Life goes on, isn't it?
Like, just walk around,
Now, listen,
we know what's up,
Stay safe, man.
But but stay safe, Make sure you're cleaning your hands. I think if there's anything I've learned, right, it's the hygiene of taking an opportunity to wipe my hand with some free.
Just wash your hands, man.
with some free, what do you call it? Sanitizers, man. Anywhere you see them, don't even think that I've just done this 30 minutes ago. Do it again.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Just do it again, because you just never know when you come in contact with someone. Do
you want me to tell you something that's very simplistic but very honest as well? One thing this whole COVID thing has made me do a lot more is wash my hands.
Wash your hands, isn't it?
That's number 1. And number 2, right? Not that I never used to do it before. I'm a lot more conscious now about washing my hand after I use when I do like a pee. This is where we're sort of people that come from sort of an African heritage from back in the day and all that. People would normally just go. I've not done a number 2, so let's talk I don't need to wash my hands.
Let's talk about that in the office.
Is it number 2 or number 1? When you
go the main.
For the main is number 2.
The main is number 2.
All right, okay. So everyone thinks as long as it's not number 2, I can just do a quick wee and just get out.
You know how many people you don't catch for office, we will come out and shake your hand under that circumstances.
Bro. So now, that's another thing that you brought that up, right?
Yeah.
I think something that's happened during the COVID time that's probably going to stick now is the fist bump.
Okay. Yeah. Well, they knuckle down.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, we're all black people now, bro.
No need for handshakes anymore. So you can actually miss out those people that probably don't wash their hands when they use the toilet. Just bump fist.
When they used to think it was only gangster stuff now. Only gangster report. Nah, man,
it's normal, man.
It's normal, bro. Like, just, and you have to wear your face mask if you're going on the ground. Get used to it.
They've actually changed that as well, though. You don't have to wear the mask.
You don't have to wear it on the ground. Okay.
But I'll still say I still do it.
No, man, I'm not going to take that kind of risk, bro.
I still do it.
Like, because obviously you're breathing in stuff.
And you're in a congested
space, man. People, they kiss people inside out on the ground, man, bro.
Well, all sorts.
Like,
you're talking about the London underground, all sorts goes on there,
it's too tight in there for you to take that kind of risk.
People use the bars in the trains, right, for pull-ups, mate. So it's a gym as well, man.
Well, that's true. And those bars are still, and they're going to be very easy for you to obviously get contaminated.
100%,
bro.
Because you use it for support, don't you? Generally, when the train is sort of wobbling here and there.
When the train's like moving about. Yeah, man. That's a thing though. Like going back to the office, guys, that's another one you need to think about, man. Those people that come out of the toilet, and if you're one of them, repent. I cannot say any more than that. Because even I myself have got very conscious of that. Like if you go into the loo, wash your hands when you get home.
Yes.
Anytime you see any free sanitizers,
use it.
Yeah, use it, man. Just pump the thing, and if it's not coming out, call the people that are supposed to have sanitizer. They say, "Oh, God, wait till they happen now." You're supposed to have sanitizer. Don't just leave things that are just pumping out fresh air.
That's it. And go for a fist bump as opposed to a handshake.
No more physical, like strong handshakes, man. Because the stronger the handshake is, the stronger your COVID, bro.
Maybe. You never know, man. You never know. So
stay safe. Just stay safe. So, guys, thank you very much for listening as usual. You've been on the Puff Puff Show, and I've had my guy Young Memphis. And hey, guy, it's been good having you around.
Thank you
guys,
for having me.
Follow me on the Puff Puff Show. Yeah, Dr Timey official, all on Instagram. And until next time, it's your guy Dr Timey. Easy.